Hey guys, so this Rivarossi Big Boy Heritage Edition finally came in. Had it on pre-order for quite some time, but it's kind of cool that Rivarossi has re-released the Big Boy. The company's been around for a really long time, and I believe Rivarossi has teamed up with a different company. Maybe they bought Rivarossi, but anyway, this more closely resembles the last Big Boy that was released by Rivarossi back in, I want to say, the 80s. But anyway, let's get this unboxed. And I'm going to skip the unboxing portion because the box is quite difficult to open. And anyway, let's get it open and look and see what's inside. Okay, box lid's off. It fits really tight, and that's good for shipping. And this is kind of a double-walled box lid with some cushioning all the way around. Really nice packaging, actually. Anyway, what do we have here? We have probably the invoice. Yep, Train World. So $349 for a DCC ready HO scale Big Boy. That's a pretty good price. Nice thick piece of foam there. And then the regular blister pack style packaging surrounded by fairly dense foam. You have here some flags, detail pieces, drivers without traction tires. Okay, and let's get this out of here. Inside, more paperwork. Looks like a parts list. And possibly instructions in 5 or 6 languages. But let's get to the important part. So yeah, standard blister pack slides off. Let me get that slid off and we'll take a look at this locomotive. So locomotive and tender come in their own separate packaging. That's kind of nice. All right, let's look at some details here. Look at this. Like I said earlier, this is a Heritage Edition, but we've got this blue hose up top. Haven't seen that on any of the other Big Boys that are being produced. It looks like the tender only has the light in it. So the decoder and speaker and or what have you must all go inside the locomotive itself. It's just a 2-wire connector, which I'm assuming powers the rear light. Anyway, let's look at this up a little closer if we can. It'll focus. Yep, looks like a Big Boy tender. The detail's pretty good. I'm assuming these are the same molds from the 80s. Bottom here. It's always fun to look underneath. Yeah, that's looking a lot like the Rivarossis from the past underneath. I mean, nothing really stands out as super detailed, say like a BLI or an MTH, but I mean, it looks really good, especially for $350. I would definitely buy it again based on the visuals. Is that open? No, no. Lots of grab irons, handrails, boarding ladders. Looks good. Let's check out the locomotive here. We've got glass windows, a somewhat detailed, let's see, we can see in there. Firewall there, but no figures. I don't think, no, the top doesn't slide open or lift open. It's painted silver. I'm assuming these are the antennas for the, because it's it's the modern Heritage Edition, the one that's running on the rails. So these are antennas for the electronics that are required. Details actually look pretty darn good. It's a plastic model. Don't know how well the phone's focusing here. I think this phone's been dropped maybe once too many times. And let's look underneath. I think the forward set of drivers have the traction tire. The rest are just regular, non-traction tired wheels. These, these look very familiar from the 80s and previous. Same with this guy. Plastic gears now instead of brass. We could have probably guessed that. Anyway, that's what she looks like. According to the diagram, I can pop this off, and there's one screw, and the top comes off, and the decoder goes underneath here. So let's take it up to the hobby room and see what we can find inside. I have a 21-pin Soundtrax. I don't know if there's a speaker in here. Actually, I don't know what's in there. We're going to find out together, I guess. Okay, up here in the hobby room. Let's see. We can zoom in here and get some better. Yeah, that looks way better. So as you can see, the detail is pretty darn good. Look at that. It actually says Big Boy on the front. Yeah, pretty cool. Remains to be seen if the number boards light up or any of that. The badging is on the front. The plaque. Squeaky chair. The cylinders have the silver fronts and rears. Single dynamo. That detail looks a little different than what I've seen before. The trailing truck there has silver end caps. See if I can get this to focus. That's actually pretty legible. The windows are a good touch. Previous Rivarossis didn't have plastic windows. They were just empty. So yeah, this actually looks pretty darn good. And that color right there looks really good. Let's turn it around and look on the other side. Okay. The other side's more of the same, except we have some more plaques here. And if you were to bust out your magnifying glass, those are probably readable. Legible. I don't know. $350. This is a pretty cool looking locomotive. There's people asking, way more than that for their 40-year-old DC only 3-pole engine or motor Rivarossi big boys, which aren't the best for converting to DCC. They're decent DC models, but anyway, let's see if I can get this boiler lid off and see what we're in for as far as installing decoders. Speaking of decoders, we've got some options here. We've got a 21-pin Steam 2. I've got a Blue Nami Steam 2. I also have some decoder buddies up there and a regular TSU 2200 and TSU 4400s. We have options. But let's peek underneath and see what we have. The last DCC ready Rivarossi I had was a little Climax logging locomotive, and I don't know what happened there, but they didn't have the 21 pin on the board wired correctly at all. I put a decoder on and nothing happened, and I thought, maybe the decoder's bad. So I tried a different decoder. Again, nothing happened. So I started testing the pin out with my fluke, and they had nothing connected the way it needed to be connected. I ended up using a decoder buddy and tossing out the Rivarossi PC board that was inside the Climax locomotive. Hopefully we don't have to do that with this one, but let's go check it out. Okay, busted out the instructions. So we have a screw in the front, screw in the back. Right here the notes say to remove the body shell, remove these two screws. So let's do that. Okay, so to remove the shell, it was this screw here, front, middle, and then there's a screw in the back that's offset to the side right there. Interesting, the floorboard inside the cab. Look at that. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. Let me slide it under the light. There we go. Pretty cool. And then there's your firewall. Pretty neat. So we have a 21 pin PCB board with a dummy. There's also a connector here for a cab light, which is right there. That's cool. See if we can get all those functions to work. We have obviously a very generously weighted flywheel and a dual drive motor going to each truck. And a nice spoiler weight here. Might have to find a spot for a speaker somewhere. Anyway, let's plug in a decoder and see if it even works. Step one. All right, once again, I haven't tried it yet as far as plugging in a decoder, but Rivarossi's PC board's a little lacking. They didn't bother to put a location for a speaker, a current keeper, or any of that. There are some ports there listed S1 and S2. I'm assuming that's speaker 1 and 2. Nothing else looks like it could be the speaker. I might have to trace this back pin out to the 21 pin to figure out if that's really the speaker or not. But yeah, nothing for a decoder either. I mean, not a decoder, a current keeper. So interesting. They could do a little better job on that, in my opinion. But anyway, let's see if those are actually the speaker points there. Would have been nice if they had to put a 2-pin jack like that on top right for the speaker, instead of just 2 pads on the bottom labeled S1 and 2, which hopefully that means speaker 1 and 2. Okay, so using the fluke meter, I did pin out that, will it even focus? Let's see if I can zoom in from out here. S1 and S2 right there. Those 2 pads right above my thumb, right above WL. That is speaker 1 and 2, which are the 2 pins right next to the dummy pin on a 21 pin. So I'm going to have to solder some wires from S1 and S2 to my speaker, wherever I may mount the speaker. But yeah, anyway, obviously DCC ready means different things to different companies, and I'm not sure what it means to Rivarossi, but it doesn't mean you're going to have sound or a spot for a keep alive. Anyway, let's get that soldered up. Enough of the complaining, and we'll move on. Okay, I got a couple wires soldered up to pads S1 and S2. Slid some heat and shrink up there to maybe protect it a little bit. And let's put the PC board back on the locomotive and find a place to put a speaker. I'm thinking it's going to have to go right there, because as weird as it sounds, there's not a lot of room under here for a speaker. So I guess if a guy really wanted to get into this and make a project out of it, you could run a a 2-pin connector back to the tender and put one heck of a speaker in there. But we're going to go with an iPhone 6 speaker here for this test and see how it works out. Okay, so default settings on the Soundtracks decoder. This is the sound you get when you first turn it on. It is locomotive 3. Here's the bell. Here's the whistle. I already had the headlight going, but here's the dynamo. Of course, we'll change all these to be more big boy prototypical, maybe. Let's see. Forward direction should turn on the headlight. Yeah. Reverse off. At first, it seems pretty smooth. Here is one speed step of 128. So I think we can work with that. Switch directions. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and button her up and possibly start picking some more appropriate sounds out of the sound files. Also need to get that cab light working, so I got to figure out which function or aux port that is. So I'll be right back. All right, I think we have some decent sounds selected here. I might replace this decoder with the big Steam that has the actual big boy recordings on it. But here, let's go. Let's get her started up. We'll press 8 to enable the sounds. And we'll get some lights going here. And there is a cab light. It turns off when the locomotive starts to move. Can't get over that blue hose. That's kind of a cool detail. And those antennas. Let's see what we got for a bell. And a whistle. Not bad. And what do we got here? Speed step 1 of 128. She creeps along pretty nice. Speed step 2, 3, 4, 5. Speed step 1 of 128. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know about the pulling power yet, but slow speed functionality is better than an $800 Loco that I have on my cabinet, an $800 big boy that I have on my cabinet. So yeah, for 350 plus a decoder, it's trying to see where you can go wrong here. I'm not seeing it. Pretty cool. Well, maybe it's time to put her on the layout. Okay, the one thing people probably want to know is pulling power, right? I don't expect it to be, all that dramatic. It's a pretty light model for a big boy. But it does have a traction tire, so could surprise us. Okay, let's see. I don't know that I can do this with without 3 hands, so I'm going to set you down here. See what we come up with. If it's that impressive, I'll go get a third hand to hold so we can get some proof here. But hold on. So we ended up with about 5.7 ounces. Not great, not bad. For reference, MTH or BLI will do close to 10. It's almost twice as much, but pretty much what I expected. It's a plastic model. It's light. But let's see how she performs around the layout. See how she handles coming up this 2% grade. %2 in a turn, no less. Not bad, not bad. Funny, you hear the chuff, decrease in volume, and the rod noise pick up when it's going downgrade. Oh, let's check out some slow speed action here. Let's go back to 128 speed steps, and we'll do one speed step of 128. Two speed steps of 128. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So you get the idea. Runs pretty good at slow speeds. All right, well, that was a 2-in-1 pin install in a Rivarossi Heritage Edition Big Boy, Union Pacific Big Boy. It's a new release. I think what they're paired up with Hornby, maybe. I think that's who they worked with on the last release, and probably the same with this one. $349.99 for a DCC ready Union Pacific Big Boy Heritage Edition. I'm impressed with everything about the model, except for the PCB board. They could have maybe, put a JST2 pin in there for a speaker connection. But I found the pads rather, that were set up for speakers. So I soldered some wires on there, and as you saw in the video, we used an iPhone 6 speaker, mounted it on one of the gear towers with two-sided tape, and the sound's not bad. So pulling power, 5.7 ounces. That's about the same as, or actually a little more than, say, a Scale Train's diesel locomotive. I don't know what the pulling power of the Athearn Big Boy is, but I bet it's right on par with that. BLI and MTH, they're closer to 10 ounces. It's almost twice the pulling power, but on my layout, pulling 22 cars is plenty. I would imagine on a larger layout, for a more realistic look, you might want to be able to pull twice that many cars. But hey, as long as you didn't have any grades to climb, I'm pretty sure this one would do it. So, if you're looking for a big boy, I know the big boy hoopla has probably, died down, and it's not all the rage anymore. But hey, $350 for a big boy is not bad at all. Especially when you see old Rivarossi, I'm trying to be nice here, pieces of crap. Yeah, that's being nice. On eBay selling for more than $350. Kind of ridiculous. So yeah, grab yourself a Rivarossi. I don't think you'll be disappointed with this guy. You guys have a good one, and happy railroading.